Well, if we listen to gentlemen like Tom House and a few other MPA folks, throwing a football, throwing a softball, just throwing, playing catch. You're always playing catch with an object that probably is a little heavier than a baseball. Heck, playing dodgeball. Just playing catch with your buddies with a football in the backyard. As far as weighted baseball, specifically a program, I'm going to let you know two important things. One, you should have a movement screen on your throwing athlete prior to beginning any type of weighted ball program if you're trying to do it on your own, meaning whether it's a physical therapist or a baseball specific trainer, depending upon where you are in the country. You want to know the arm health, shoulder health, elbow health, hip health, internal, external rotations, all the big words that they use. But you really want to have that movement screen and kind of get a thumbs up before you start initiating a throwing program with weighted balls. The other thing is that you want to have a program that fits your athlete's age. In other words, just because the senior in high school or the freshman in college does X amount of repetitions certainly doesn't mean that your athlete at eighth grade or ninth grade should be doing the same number of repetitions. There's a situation there with regard to strength, form, mechanics, all sorts of things. And as is the case with most anything in life, one does not fit all. And so you really want to make sure you're getting an individual kind of diagnosis and game plan for your throwing athlete. But I always encourage parents, play catch with the football every day. That's good for arm health. You don't have to take a break. You can play catch with the football every day, depending upon where you are in the country. You're not going to hurt your arm. Just make sure there's an analogy. When we walk and we throw, that's the same thing. We don't count steps. We don't have to count throws. When we run, we tend to monitor, what our time is in a mile, or if we're sprinting, what our speed was. Same thing with pitching. Both are extreme forms of each movement, running to walking, pitching to throwing. And so you really want to make sure you're monitoring pitching as opposed to throwing. Playing catch and throwing is good. And lastly, on this topic, because this is another topic that I get asked quite a bit about, and we're going to be joined shortly by Scotty Jackson, want to make sure you understand that when you're throwing and you're doing warm-up, you want to get your body warm before you actually throw. So if we're following Tom House, it's called dynamic warm-up. You want to make sure you have good energy in your shoulders, in your body, in your core, and that's going to make sure that we're ready and prepared to get loose. And finally, on the topic of throwing, long toss. It's not for everyone. I'm a big fan of long toss, but there's a lot of studies that will say that it puts a lot of torque on elbows and arms. So, just because you're 8-year-old or you're 12-year-old, they shouldn't be able to throw a baseball 100 yards. So kind of get an idea of how far out they can maintain good energy and form. Just pay attention and be aware that sometimes long toss can actually do damage or kind of hurt or create soreness. So monitor long toss and kind of come up with a game plan with somebody that can build and put together a long toss program for you that's adequate for your throwing athlete.